Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to February 17th Legislative Committee meeting. My name is Tanine Rudick, and I am Deputy Mayor for right now. The Mayor is wishing he was here enjoying all the great weather that we have here in Vegreville. I will call this meeting to order at 3:01 p.m. And are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Seeing none, I'll have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. Councillor Curtis makes that motion. Any contrary minded? All those in favor? That is carried. I have a motion to adopt the minutes that were circulated. Councillor Warwa? Are there any amendments or adjustments needed in those minutes as circulated? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that is also carried. Thank you very much. We were to have some delegations here today, but that has been rebooked to another meeting, so we will look forward to that at a future legislative committee meeting. Moving on to quarterly progress reports. We've got a presentation from Dan Kuzmic, Parks, Recreation and Facilities Manager. Mr. Kuzmic, go ahead.
Perfect. Good afternoon, everyone. Won't take up too much of your time today as I don't have crazy lots on the go yet this year. So, quick update. I'll fill you in on a few projects that we carried over from last year. I didn't stick them in here. I'll just give them to you verbally. We do have all our material bought to still upgrade the North Circle Drive parking or flower bed gardens and the one other park that we're going to still do the update on it. Sorry, that was carried over from last year. So, got the rocks, we got our gravel, we got our dirt. We're just waiting for better weather. So I'll jump right into the Q1 report for 2026. The first one we got is our recreation software replacement. Again, it's pretty much straightforward. We're just beginning this. I just signed the contract last Friday, waiting for the bill to come in, and we will be implementing our new software program. Hopefully we'll have it up and running. My goal date and go live will be September 1st, 2026. So we'll keep the Intelli running right up until then and then do the big switch over. So that one's pretty straightforward if anyone has any questions.
Does anybody have any questions for Manager Kuzmic?
Excellent. And the next thing we're just beginning for next year, our next big project will be the Southside Trail enhancement and the addition of a new Southside DOLA down there. Again, we can't do anything at the moment until the snow melts, but we just started drawing out some preliminary stages and planning that we'll bring to you guys and see if that's where you like the placement location, and we'll go from there. But hopefully to have that all done and completed by middle of summer next year, so this year.
Does anybody have any questions about the walking trail or the DOLA that's proposed? As chair of the meeting, I wouldn't usually direct questions, but I'm going to take liberty by having this microphone. I'm wondering if there is an opportunity for any of these projects to have public engagement at some point, or are you just designing, for example, North Circle Drive? That was something that I heard when I was door knocking. There are a lot of folks that are sad about the state of affairs because it was at one point one of the most beautiful parks in a neighborhood, and it's become sadly one of the oldest and most overgrown.
Yeah, we haven't engaged the public there, but we do know that one needs a lot of work, and that was one of our goals. We just didn't get to it last year. So this year, that'll be our top priority before we start even the Southside Trail. So want to get those parks up and running.
Okay, well, if there's an opportunity to have public engagement, I know that we've got strategic planning coming up as council, and we'll have some more conversation about that. But
I think it would probably be definitely good to do for the Southside Trail enhancement and DOLA just to see what's all involved, and it's going to affect some citizens around that area, I'm sure, so it'd be nice to get their feedback too.
Excellent. And one other thing that has had some public attention is the stairs and ramp that's at the post office. Of course, we've had the good fortune of having great weather for the last little while, but we're back at it again.
Yeah, so we did redo that ramp 2 years ago, I believe, and we just got to redo the front stairs now. So
okay,
that'll be in a budget coming up.
Excellent. And how do we have an idea of what kind of recreation facilities and parks, the feasibility study, do you get to see or have any idea of what kind of feedback you've been receiving?
Haven't heard any. Leslie usually keeps us updated on that, but I haven't reached out to her yet to hear.
Well, hopefully the number of people that were at Family Day will increase the number of survey results that you get for that as well.
I do think she said 150 plus have done the survey so far, so.
Okay. Thank you very much. Moving on to the next item on the agenda is Manager Brown, Community Engagement and Economic Development Manager, and hand it over to you.
Thank you very much. This is a letter that's been sent to Mayor and Council from the Alberta RVers Association. To Vegreville Mayor and Town Council, I'm writing on behalf of the organizing committee for the upcoming RV rally scheduled to take place in your community on June 10th to 14th, 2026. We are respectfully seeking your and Town Council's support to help welcome participants and showcase all that your town has to offer. The rally is organized by the Alberta RVers Association, a provincially based organization with 9 chapters across Alberta. Our association has been active since 1970s, originally formed as part of the Good Sam International family. Membership is open to anyone aged 55 and over, either as a member at large or through one or more local chapters. Each year, the provincial organization hosts approximately 3 RV season rallies, typically 5 days in length. This year's spring rally will be held in Vegreville. The event is expected to attract approximately 140 participants, many of whom will stay in the community for the duration of the rally. Based on experience from past events, attendees contribute meaningfully to the local economy through spending on fuel, groceries, restaurants, retail shopping, and nearby attractions. In addition to these economic benefits, the rally provides an opportunity to highlight your community's hospitality, amenities, and sense of local pride to visitors from across the region. To help make this rally memorable, a memorable experience, we are requesting Town Council support in the form of event swag or welcome items, 70 to 80 bags, a map of Vegreville, a 2-for-1 pitch and putt, and maybe a 2-for-1 ice cream coupon, or any other contributions the council deems appropriate. These items would be distributed to participants as welcome gifts and would serve as lasting reminders of their positive experience in your community. If a direct contribution is not possible, we would greatly appreciate the council's assistance in connecting us with local businesses or organizations that may be interested in sponsoring or donating items for the event. We are also open to exploring other forms of partnership or support that align with the town's priorities. Thank you for considering this request. We would welcome the opportunity to discuss this further and provide additional details. Sincerely, Ron Leahay, President, Alberta RVers Association.
Thank you very much. I wonder if there's any comments about the letter or the request. Go ahead, Councillor Jagalik.
Thank you. I didn't see it in there. Do we have any idea where this is held?
Yeah, from what we understand, it's kind of been an amalgam with the Alberta RVers Association working with the Ag Society. Given that we're talking about 70 to 80 rigs, certainly our campsite would be at capacity. So from what I understand, they've worked already with the Ag Society to lock down space on their grounds. And we were looped into this as the town in the hopes of being able to be a part of the, for lack of a better term, welcoming committee.
Thank you. I do appreciate that they gave specific examples of ways that we can help to welcome visitors to the community, especially given that many of them will likely be at the campground. I'm curious, I guess, Manager Browning, in the past, have we given items such as these? At a previous meeting, we just discussed giving things like the stress egg and pins. This is obviously a little bit different. So I'm just curious if on the top of your head you can share with us if we've done anything similar to these examples in the past, please.
Sure, yeah. We've traditionally, at least while I've been overseeing kind of the tourism, obviously, you know, our coordinator, Michelle Gladys, does the bulk of the legwork, and I should probably stress that she's had a lot of these conversations. But we try our best to accommodate any large group of visitors or delegates to our community to ensure that they're leaving and have an appreciation for how welcoming Vegreville was. So Specific examples, for instance, we had a large delegation 2 summers ago. In that case, we provided each of them with a stress egg. We have done a little bit of legwork to determine that we do currently have enough of the Pesica Park bags that we could, hand over to the association. Those are about $4.50 per unit, but given the number of those that are attending, and given the number in terms of the donation, just like we did with the Legion, we wanted to put it back to council, inform them, and then again ultimately allow you to make the decision if we would be okay with that kind of investment. Obviously, the 2-for-1 mini golf is, as far as I'm concerned, a no-brainer. It costs us nothing. The infrastructure is already in place. CAO Ling had a great idea. We could offer 2-for-1 paddle boat rides. Again, that infrastructure is in place. It's not going to cost us anything. Vegreville maps, we already have a lot of those in terms of some of our Welcome to Vegreville printed material. So it would probably just be those swag bags that they're requesting, and then we would probably incorporate some stickers and whatever else, and then those coupons.
Any other thoughts? Councillor Brazier?
I'm going to suggest to possibly reach out to the Chamber of Commerce, and they can email, a mass email to their membership for the swag bags.
We can maybe have that passed along officially through those channels, but also maybe Councillor Jagalik, if you wouldn't mind bringing that forward. Okay, well, it sounds like everybody is in favor of supporting this group. I believe if this is the Good Sam's, former Mayor Coleman used to travel with them. So it might be worth just doing a little bit of reconnaissance and just find out, because I know that he did bring them here several times, and Mayor McPhee, myself, and other council members did come and meet the Good Sam's, and they did used to, because there was such a large group of them, go to the former museum grounds at least once or twice. Had done that in the past, so it might be interesting, if nothing else, just to be able to know if any of those folks are familiar with former Mayor Coleman, and welcome them to the community in that capacity as well.
Absolutely.
And if we have some support of council, I guess we'll direct you to make it happen and continue to share the good news of Vegreville with these folks, and hope they return.
We can do that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving on to the next item, we'll move it along to Director Lefebvre to talk about the scintillating land use bylaw.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is a memorandum to council. The topic is amending Land Use Bylaw 11, 2019 for rezoning. Background, Planning and Development received a rezoning application on February 9th, 2026 to redesignate one vacant property from Urban Reserve, UR, to Large Lot Residential District, and R5. The proposed rezoning would allow for large lot residential development with a maximum parcel size of 1 acre. An area structure plan will be required as per the Town of Vegreville's Municipal Development Plan and approved prior to any future development of the site. Communication is a level 4, involve, consult, and collaborate. After a successful first reading, advertising will be set for 2 consecutive weeks online and in the local paper. A public hearing will then be scheduled for March 23rd, 2026, with the opportunity for second and third reading to be held on March 23rd, 2026 at the regular scheduled council meeting. Options: Option 1, review bylaw XX 226 and move forward with the process. And Option 2 is to review and deny and provide reasons why. Below this, you will see the rezoning application, and then an aerial just showing the location of the 5.84 approximately acres. And the second attachment in this will be the actual application itself.
Okay, thank you very much, Director Lefebvre. Are there any questions or comments from council? Okay, and this is the regular process. The applicant is aware that this will take a little bit of time to move through the steps of advertising and moving through the various readings. Is that correct?
That is correct. We have been in touch with the applicant a few times now.
Okay. And is there anything else that you feel would be relevant to understanding as we move forward to the next? So I'm assuming this is going to be brought forward. You said the dates on here.
What's important is that we maintain what's required in our municipal development plan when we move forward with these types of redesignation of lands and what we do. So as long as we're following a municipal development plan, it's a statutory plan approved by council, so we must follow it, and this shows that we are doing that.
Okay. Thank you very much. And for anybody that is interested, that's watching online, the agenda will have these documents as well as the diagram detailing where this property is on Maple Street, I guess is probably the best way to be able to describe it, but they can access all of those details online. Okay, we'll move on to the next item with Director Lefebvre. We've got unbudgeted loader repair.
Yeah, the topic is the unbudgeted loader repair, as you had said. The background is Unit 313 is a 1994 wheel loader. The Fleet Department has determined that it requires up to $30,000 in fuel and hydraulic system repairs. The Parks Department requires this unit for functions as far as cleaning parking lots, moving and placing dirt for flower beds. It's a light use machine because of its age, but today would have been a good day to use it, for example, and it's out of service. So in accordance with policy FIN 6007, council approval is required for this unbudgeted expenditure. A transfer of up to $30,000 from the equipment reserve to the operating fund is required. Options: 1, approve this item to be placed on the agenda for the next regular council meeting for formal decision to repair Unit 313 and transfer up to $30,000 from the equipment reserve. Option 2, decide not to repair the unit. The Parks Department will reduce the level of service as the use of the unit will be restricted until it eventually is taken out of service, which when I reconfirmed today with our Fleet Department, it is currently now out of service. So that's not an option. Direct the Fleet Department to explore the purchase of a replacement unit.
Okay, any comments from council? Questions for Director Lefebvre about this? Councillor Lemko?
Yes, through the chair to Director Lefebvre. This $30,000 estimate, is that an estimate that came from within, or was it explored outside of our own equipment?
The estimate came in a little less than 30,000 from outside, but of course, it's a 1994 unit with a lot of hours, over 17,000 hours on it. And when you take these old things apart, sometimes you find other things. So there's 2 areas that need to be worked on. One is the fuel system. Second is the engine oil compartment, which means a physical removal of engine and transmission and then separating them apart to do an oil repair. And then fuel system and tank specifically is old enough that it needs to be removed and replaced. The fuel tank system, of course, it's obsolete, so we'll have to custom build one. So these prices have been getting pulled from outside of, it's not an in-house estimate. Like I said, the 30,000 gives me a little bit in case we open up a surprise. A new loader is in the tune of $5.5 to $575,000. This is a very old unit, but it does necessary work for parks, but it's not like it's loading pit run all day. So it's recommended that we put this money into the repair, and at the use it's getting, hopefully get another 5 years out of it.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Maybe I'll just ask the question. Appreciate Councillor Lemko's question and clarification that this is an outside repair that will be sourced. I'm just curious at what point the need for the repairs was determined. Was it in the pursuit of trying to deal with today's activity of extensive snow, or was it something that just popped up in regular maintenance?
It didn't come up till late today, but it was recent when it's a very old machine and it had a slight engine leak underneath. And because whether you're going to change that seal in preventative maintenance or wait till it fails, the price is the same. So we've been waiting for it to accelerate, and it's been probably quite a while. It's been hanging in there as a seep in a wet spot. And now the oil is coming out of it at the point where, if you know something about mechanics, there's a bell housing with the starter, and it's filled that to the point where the oil's leaking out past the starter now. So the seal's completely gone. And the fuel tank, it's soaking wet underneath the machine always. It's just gone that bad. And there's no replacement, so we'll custom build one. And it will be farmed out, you're correct. We don't have the ability to pull that out in our shop.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. Of course, it's always tricky. The timing isn't necessarily the good optics, but that's just how things work when you've got expensive equipment to maintain and repair. So thank you for explaining that, and we'll look forward to seeing that in an upcoming council meeting to approve that expenditure.
Yes, you will, the next regular council meeting.
Okay. And if there's no more other questions, I think we will keep bopping along here. Director Saskew, on to you. P-card policy.
Thank you. So I have here a draft FIN 6005 P-card policy. The purpose of this program is to provide a controlled, cost-effective, and efficient method for procuring and paying for goods and services. This includes low-value purchases and higher-value expenditures such as conference bookings and annual software subscriptions and renewals that require a credit card. Administration has completed a review of the purchasing card policy and updated and authorized spending limits to better align with operational needs while maintaining appropriate financial controls and oversight. The revised limits establish clear monthly and single transaction thresholds based on position and level of responsibility, ensuring consistency, accountability, and effective risk management. The updated limits are as follows. So CAO, 50,000 limit with no single transaction. The prior limit was 10,000 with no single transaction limit. Directors, 50,000 with a $10,000 single transaction limit. Our prior limit was 10,000 on this one. Ledge coordinator, 10,000 with no single transaction limit, which is no change. As well for municipal services manager. The mayor, also not unchanged, 5,000 with a 2,000 single transaction. And managers, 5,000 with 2,000 single transaction. And then we've also added in foremen, coordinators, supervisors, fire chief, community peace officers, accounts payable, legislative clerk, and programmers, so that they all have a $5,000 limit with a single transaction limit of $1,000. So those are unchanged with the exception of fire chief, community peace officer, accounts payable, and legislative clerk have been added. So these ones have been added just because I'm really trying very hard to limit petty cash. So with petty cash, it's very hard to track who is taking cash out, what they're spending the money on. If the receipt is brought back and it's incomplete, it's basically we've lost cash, versus if everyone has their own purchasing card with these lower limits, they can't say that they didn't buy that. So you have to physically present the card, you have to physically type in the PIN, and they are tied to each individual person. Another thing to note, everything that has a little asterisk, so any of these larger limits, these are bigger limits than what is allowed for one single transaction in the procurement policy. So any transaction that is in excess of an employee's authorized spending limit must be budgeted and have dual signatures by authorized signing authorities prior to the purchase being made. A good example is we have our Adobe update annual licensing coming through, and for the entire community of the town, it goes on my P card because now they require credit cards. This is just the way that the world is changing, and it's $8,000. So I know that that is coming out on my account on March, I think it's the 5th. I print that out ahead of time, have Sandra and Dale sign it off, so now I have dual signatures on this Adobe renewal. I have it approved, it's in the budget, and that's what I will submit with my P card. So that is the requirement for anything that is higher than our procurement policy. So for managers, that is why their single transaction limit is $2,000, because that is what they're allowed to purchase without any additional signatures. So we left the higher value items to be going through the CAO or the directors just because they have a higher level of responsibility associated with their position. Additional updates in the P-card policy draft include Section 3 has been updated to reference FIN 6002, which is the travel and expense policy. So if you're going to a conference, you still need to follow that policy. Section 3.2 has been updated to expressly prohibit alcohol and drugs. It used to just say any unauthorized purchases by the town. So we want to be very explicitly clear. You're you're not purchasing alcohol on these P cards, you're not purchasing any kind of other substances such as that. Section 3.6 has been added to detail requirements when purchasing meals that both the detailed receipt and a credit card receipt are provided. And comments must be made on each receipt, who attended the meal and the purpose of the meeting. So just a little bit higher detail required for meal receipts. The reason for the credit card and the detailed receipt is then for purposes of determining what a tip amount was and what is GST and non-GST. So as we know with meals, there's no GST on tips. Section 5.0, temporary limit increases has been added. So this is for staff that are going to conferences with the $1,000 single transaction limit. We're noticing now with the rates that are required for credit cards, some staff have 3, 4, 5-day conferences. For example, I think it's fire or water and the CPOs, they actually do some of their annual recertifications at their conferences. So it is a full week. That results in a higher than $1,000. So we need a temporary limit increase just for that period of time so that they can pay with their own credit card rather than taking their manager's cards. Because the goal is that everyone has their own card and cards are not shared. So this temporary limit increase can be granted by only the CAO in the event that a P card holder is attending a conference or has another single item to purchase above their limit. The request for a limit increase must be made 2 weeks prior to the expected event or day of purchase to allow for processing time, and the CAO will ensure that cost is budgeted. The CAO can authorize a limit change for a period not exceeding 30 days at one point in time, and then at which point in time the default limit will be applied back to the card. So that is something that I, as the P card administrator, can do in our request to our Alberta Munis account. And then Section 7, records will be retained in accordance with the town's record management and retention bylaw rather than municipal affairs retention and scheduling of municipal records publication. So that's our new PIPA requirements. These changes support efficient procurement, reduce reliance on petty cash, and strengthen audit controls by ensuring expenditures are appropriately authorized and traceable versus our current system of POs at local vendors such as co-op and using petty cash. So it's very hard to trace who made these purchases. Like at places that offer us credit such as co-op, we just give the town's PO number or like your co-op number, and when we get that back at our payable side of things, we don't actually know who did those purchases unless they provide us the receipt. So sometimes there has been who bought this at co-op. Financial implications are, there are no financial implications to the adoption of this updated policy, as everything that is being purchased is and should be budgeted. Communication will be in informed level 1. Upon approval, senior management will be informed of council's decision. The P card administrator will make necessary amendments, so that's to any of the limits, to adding any additional card holders on that are presented here today. Options that town council may accept the proposed FIN 605 P card policy and approve it at the next council meeting, or town council may review the policy further and discuss the proposed policy at the next legislative committee meeting on March 3rd, 2026 before approving the policy.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Director Saskew? Go ahead. Councillor Brodziak.
I'm just curious why the large increase from 10,000 to 50,000 for both the directors and the CAO. It just seems like quite a significant jump, and just to explain to the public why it's necessary for that significant jump.
Excellent. I could probably get the CAO to talk on that a little bit, but I will say, due to the timing of a lot of purchases made at this time of the year, myself and Sandra's P cards are fully maxed out. Like that one Adobe example I gave you, that's my entire limit. So then if we're purchasing anything else, we are really strapped for availability of credit limit. Like Sandra's is also maxed out right now because she had to purchase another one of the renewals for another one of our softwares that we use for OmniGo. So that is there. And then we also used to have a TD credit card that was $30,000 with no limit. And that one now, with the adoption of this policy, it doesn't fall under this. And why have a credit card at another institution that we don't actually even bank with? They recommended not renewing that card and just upping our P card limits. So this is now the point where we're asking for that.
So it's going from 40,000 to 50,000, basically without the TD card. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from council? Councillor Jagalik?
Thank you. I would just like to hear what CAO Ling has to say in response to Councillor Brodziak's question, please.
Excuse me. Actually, Director Saskew pretty much covered it all. We no longer have the TD visa that was that we used to have, and keep in mind that $30,000 limit was set over 15 years ago. So with inflation, it is quite different. And Director Saskew is quite right. My particular P card has been full since January 5th. When the first purchase was for a computer software for fleet and facilities. Then I had to wait a whole month before I could even pay my my membership renewals to the associations that I belong to. And then I had to make another big purchase of a software. So it basically, like for this weekend, my credit card is unusable because the limits aren't high enough for the amount that we are dealing with at the beginning of the year.
Any follow-up questions? Go ahead, Councillor Jagalik.
Yes, actually, thank you. Can you just explain to us too then, previously with the directors not having what the new limit will be, what would it look like if a director needed to make purchases in excess of their current limit and their card is maxed out? Is that what you're saying? They come to you and they're using your card for?
Yes, then we're scrambling around and we're looking for other credit cards. For example, Megan's is full, mine is full. We had to use Dale's to purchase an AED to replace at the social center. Then we had to scramble around and look for, and it's not necessarily so much as the card may be full, but it's also the transaction limits. There are difficulties when you're booking hotel rooms for 7 elected officials and you reach $1,100 in one transaction. Now cards are unusable. So you have to go to the cards with the higher limits, and then of course ours are full. So it's a very interesting game of whose can we use today to get the purchases made.
Okay, so this solves that problem while also helping to keep better records of purchases made within each department with their credit limit being increased. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, I guess any of us that were attending Brownlee, I'll speak for myself, the session that they had on fraud was very alarming. So I appreciate, and for the public's insight to the number of checks and balances that there need to be for each of these transactions are numerous, and this policy actually provides some parameters to protect both the municipality and the employees. I'm just curious myself if you have researched with other municipalities this credit limit. This is standard in the industry for municipal administrative teams.
I was not able to, I actually did think of that, and I was looking and I wasn't able to really track down who has limits. Like the city of Edmonton has outrageous limits on their different amounts, like the different directors that have, that we were able to find, but I haven't been able to find a smaller or more comparable municipality that has similar limits. That is why we left the big limits with people that have signing authority that are already tied to the due diligence of reporting and to council. And then in relation to managers and down, their only authorized limit is as much as their single transaction limit is for like approving of invoices, et cetera. So that's where we stayed within those parameters. And then we did refer in relation to any kind of anything that's in excess to the procurement policy, because then if those limits change the next time we review the procurement policy, which will be this year as well, that one is up for review, then those limits would then be tied back into this policy.
Okay, and I guess maybe that's where, and again, to this point, actually the P card policy is fairly new. This hasn't had a long history with the municipality.
2017, I believe.
Yeah, so it's not something that we're overly familiar with in terms of historically, but are very sensitive to make sure that we're making sure that everything is following fiduciary responsibility and everything is able to be reviewed. If there was anything that was out of line with the policy, is there a way that council is notified? So if there's an inappropriate purchase or anything untoward with the limits and or the individuals utilizing the P cards, is there a reporting structure in place?
Actually, CAO Ling and I were actually speaking of that today, like keeping a hard copy document noting any kind of errors or omissions. And something as simple as they didn't provide the credit card receipt with one of their meals. So I have a $56 receipt saying itemized list of what they had on their meals. They detailed what the dinner was for, but they didn't provide me that final receipt and it's out by $20 because they left a $20 tip. So those are the ones that would be like kind of like a first strike, write it down, document it, maybe have them sign off, do an email, and then, yes, that is something that we could probably report to council. I would assume that this would be something that would be not in like open live communication, because we don't want to be like berating staff, you forgot one receipt, but it is, they have to know that it is serious and there can be ramifications for it. So that is something that I think I'm going to set up an actual formal template for reporting on that, because we do want to keep track of, was this a one-time thing or has this employee done this 3 times in the last year? So that was something that we were actually discussing today.
Okay, thank you. I will speak for myself again. That session definitely stood out and appreciate that there's some guardrails to make sure that everybody's protected here. And understanding that the world has changed. There's a lot more online purchases. Okay. Oh, sure. Councillor Brodziak has one more question.
Just one more request to Councillor or to Director Saskew. If you could amend the memorandum to council to include that the TD card, the $30,000 limit will be removed. And this way it gives a better understanding to anyone who's reading this document that it's actually not going from 10 to 50, it's actually going from 40 to 50. If you could include that TD.
Yeah, that TD one has been canceled for probably a year already, but I will add that, just saying historically we did have a $30,000 TD card.
Yeah, and it would just make it just a lot easier for anybody reading the document to understand. Thank you.
Absolutely. I will add that to the RCD if council is ready to take that to council next week.
Looks like it'll be a busy meeting, sure.
Thank you.
I guess we'll see. Director Lefebvre, I guess you won't have that increase in your limit to be able to repair the loader maybe, but we'll see. Moving on to Library Board Operating Reserve.
Thank you. So I have here a memorandum to council to approve the transfer to Library Board Operating Reserve. So the background is the Library Board Operating Reserve represents an accumulation of prior year surpluses and currently has a balance of $58,053. Council and the Library Board previously agreed, I keep getting emails right as I'm reading, previously agreed that the reserve balance would not exceed 15% of the library's current year operating revenue, and at present, the reserve is at its maximum threshold. As part of the 2026 budget, the library reduced its operating funding from the town of Vegreville by $35,000, which was 15%. The library board is therefore requesting that its 2025 operating surplus of $9,759 be transferred to the operating board reserve for use in future years. This would result in the reserve balance exceeding the approved 15% limit. This transfer from the library operating funds to the library board operating reserve is not included in the approved budget and as such requires council approval. Financial implications. An expenditure of $9,759 will be recorded in the 2029 financial records to transfer unexpended library operating funds to the library board operating reserve for use in future years. This transfer will result in the town of Vegreville's full 2025 budgeted contribution of $256,000 being fully expended for the library operations. Communication will be level 1 in form. Upon approval, senior management will be informed of council's decision. The library liaison will update library administration and the board of council's decision. And options are that the town council approve the transfer of $9,759 to the operating reserve for the use in future budget years. Or 2, the council may request additional information and discuss the proposed reserve transfer at the next legislative committee meeting on March 3rd, 2026, before approving the transfer.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from council? No questions? Okay. I guess we will see this at the upcoming March 3rd meeting. Again, full meeting potentially. We shall see. Thank you very much. CAO Ling, do you have any items that you would like to share?
Not at this time, thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm not sure what Mayor McPhee wants to share. We'll go to councillor reports or anything that they'd like to share, and we'll go left to right. Councillor Lemko.
It's odd to be first, Your Worship. I have nothing that's jumped out at me, but I do note for those people who are the naysayers on the building that goes on in this town, there is construction at the old Full Throttle site. Appears to be some anchors drilled and the foundation ready to support some more buildings. So it is happening, folks.
Indeed it is, right before the snow fell. Councillor Curtis.
Thank you very much. I don't have anything on the plate right now. It's been all quiet on this side, so that's all for me.
Very good. Councillor Brodziak.
I had a VARC meeting at lunch today, Vegreville Attraction and Retention Committee, and some good news. Apparently that we have a new physician that has signed on to coming to our community sometime this year. So we'll keep you updated regarding the name and the dates for this new physician. So exciting news.
Good to hear. Councillor Jagalik.
Thank you. Also rather quiet the last couple of weeks. I hope everybody had a good long weekend on Family Day. A couple of us were out and about at some of the festivities yesterday, and that was great. There was lots of people that came forward and were so appreciative of what was going on all day long and breakfast and things like that. So yeah, that was great, but that's about it.
Thank you. Councillor Wara.
Thank you. I guess I'll just touch base on a little compliment I had from the X Society at my last meeting. They were very pleased with some of the snow removal that's been happening this year. Then I guess I also have a question that would be directed, I guess, towards Manager Kuzmic. They just wanted, also from my X Society meeting, they just want to know, is the plan still to use the ball diamonds at the X Society this year?
Yeah, that is the plan. I did reach out and they do know that, so.
And besides for that, I don't have too much else to add.
Okay. I'll just say thank you very much to all of council that was able to attend and our staff that were in attendance early, and special note to Legislative Coordinator Leslie Kucherawi for doing the purchasing and preparing so that all of us were able to show up, some of us late, to be able to crack eggs and make pancake batter and serve the good folks of Vegreville with our neighbors, County of Minburn councillors. So great opportunity to be able to have public engagement. Shout out to all the FCSS staff for their coordination of a large community event. Approximately 320 people came through for pancake breakfast yesterday. We had no leftovers to speak of except for a couple of condiments. So we've obviously finessed the purchasing, and some great community cooperation and participation. I will say that it was great to be able to have my family there, although I hadn't anticipated reading to the adult children, that the grandchildren ran away from the story time on behalf of the library. But great opportunity to be able to see all kinds of new people to Vegreville too. So wanted to also maybe keep in touch with the number of people that are engaging with the rec facility feasibility study. So again, we had those QR codes on everybody's table, but we want to make sure that it's easy for those people that perhaps don't know how to use a QR code, because that was a question from some of the the people in the crowd yesterday too. Councillor Lemko, you had something else that you wanted to share?
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. The family breakfast, I want to send out a huge shout out to Colleen Krill and Tim Hortons for donating all the coffee, and they continue to do that year after year. So kudos to them, and thank you for being great representatives of our community.
Exactly. We couldn't do those great community events without the support of our corporate sponsors, and appreciate good relationship with Tim Hortons being able to support that event year after year. And again, a lot of effort from a lot of different people that ultimately council from town and the county get to stand at the front, and we appreciate all the people behind the scenes that make that happen. And the donations we will collate and provide to the Vegreville Food Bank. So we'll look forward to hearing how much was garnered from the door collection, and there's a lot of folks that really enjoy being able to have access to a meal like that too. That not only is it a great opportunity to bring people together, it is a great example of why some of us really enjoy living in a small community. So congrats and thanks to everyone. Moving on to director highlights, Director Lefebvre.
Usually you go first. Thank you, Your Worship. I'm just going to do a little bit on snow removal. We, as you know, this morning we woke up to a good, not so much had a lot of snow, but the wind took it in all the places it should never take snow, I guess. So today we've done 58th Ave, 50th Street to 49th Street, south to 57. We did 47th Street, 45th Street, and the Fire Hall, RCMP areas, so emergency vehicles could get moving. And then go out to the hospital and did the access in as Highway 16A road is plowed. It's quick and easy to do. So then we ensure that the road's cleared from Highway 16A past the hospital for access. That's the obvious first ones. Tomorrow at a 6 a.m. start, we're gonna do Maple Street from Highway 16A down to 45th Ave, and then go down 45th Ave East, all the way down to the arena and back. It finishes a main artery loop. And then that same night at midnight, the crews will come back after they finish their day shift, and they'll start at midnight on Main Street. So by Thursday morning, when the business is open, the streets will be cleaned and looked after. And that's just not Main Street, that's the whole downtown core, as you know, that we take right past the town office to the Seniors Lodge, which is called Century Park. And we clean that up. So typically we have a snowstorm. We spend one day doing our main priority ones, and then we move to downtown core. It gives the business people one full day to shovel their snow onto the road. We're just gonna ask that they just get through tomorrow, and it'll be cleaned up at midnight. Wednesday night at midnight, we'll start cleaning up, because we wanna get these arteries down. We've got vehicles that are getting stuck on the main arteries trying to get around town, so we're gonna do that first. Main Street is definitely passable for sure without getting stuck. We realize parking is an issue for sure. We just want tomorrow to clean up our arteries, and we'll be on it midnight tomorrow.
Thank you for that update. Snow removal is something that we may have thought we were getting away from, but it is still February and likely to have lots more snow. And it certainly did blow in the wrong places, but we may hear about that tomorrow at the Chamber AGM from folks that are interested in sharing their opinions. Anything else from your point? Okay. Moving on to Director Saskew then.
Thank you. I have a few highlights here. So as always in February, year-end audit work is ongoing. So we are wrapping up our portion of the audit, myself and the finance manager, doing a review, preparing financial statements, and then Synergy will be in the office March 10th through 12th for year-end fieldwork. So they've moved up the date a week just to help with their scheduling a little bit, and we were able to accommodate that. Corporate Services and Utilities have also been working on the multiple dwelling project. We have made good progress and are mailing out notices to each of the owners today. This list is extensive, but the actual amount of owners is not significant. So for owners that own multiple properties, we put all their properties on one letter. So that instead of collecting 6 or 12 letters in the mail and trying to determine, we did one letter with all of their properties and then what each fixed fee would be on their property. So the affected property owners have until March 17th to bring up any errors or omissions, and then the fees will come into effect as of June 1st, 2026. So that is what we have noted in this letter, and I'm sure we'll have some phone calls as a result of those, so I will report those back as we receive them. Corporate Services has also continued to take part in discussions and demonstrations related to a new ERP solution. We have 2 more demos scheduled in the upcoming weeks, and I will report back from there. So lots of little things and big things on the go right now, but nothing specifically this week that is follow-up.
Thank you very much. And just so that everybody is aware again, the multiple dwelling project refers to the change in utility billing.
Correct. As per the fees and charges bylaw.
Right. Thank you. I'm sure we'll get a few phone calls about that as people receive those letters. Sorry, I guess now it's CAO highlights. Would you like to highlight now? Because I asked you earlier and at the wrong time.
That's okay, thank you, Your Worship. So just a few little highlights. I attended an Alberta Munis webinar for towns, and it was quite interesting. There were lots of questions regarding the advocacy for the police funding model for populations, for municipalities with populations under $5,000 or 5,000 people. The province is increasing them to the 30% that they were supposed to have been paying by 2030. So currently, I think they are sitting at 20%. So this is going to be a huge increase for those smaller municipalities and towns that are under 5,000. Attended Brownlee's Emerging Trends. It was very informative, especially on the new Protection of Privacy Act. The amount that the municipalities have to do to protect the data that we collect is quite extensive. And then, along with council, worked the Family Day breakfast on Monday.
Thank you very much. Yes, that reference to the different learnings that came out of that emerging trends and municipal law. I think that's one of the things that maybe the public isn't aware of, that these legislative changes have a huge burden responsibility, but also time and learning and cost for the municipality. And they are quite significant. Again, there are a few things that made me a little itchy thinking about what would happen if we lost some of that data. So municipalities are vulnerable, and some munis have been targeted in the past, so it's great to be able to have you folks there and make sure that we're doing the right things. So thank you for that. Upcoming events, we've got the Chamber of Commerce Annual General Meeting tomorrow night, and they'll be swearing in of new officers. Council is going to be having a strategic planning retreat. This will be February 20th to 22nd, so great ideas hopefully will come out of that, and some direction to be able to share with administration following. Upcoming council meeting, February 23rd, Ledge Committee meeting, March 3rd, Town Council, March 9th, Legislative Committee meeting, March 17th, and Alberta Munis Spring Caucus, March 26th to 27th. So somehow it's almost through February. Is there anything else that we need to have in the format currently? Okay, seeing none, I'll take a motion to move into the next section of our meeting, into closed session. Councillor Curtis makes that motion. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you very much, and we will move into the next section of our meeting.